violent criminals should not have handguns? Good, we got a good start. We agree alcoholics shouldn't have, habitual alcoholics shouldn't have handguns.
Yes, I would agree.
People who have long-term systemic mental illness, not just, they had a death in the family and went to somebody, but they shouldn't have possession of firearms.
I agree with that, but
Okay, well, seems we're easy so far. Great drug addicts shouldn't have it.
the reason why I'm hesitant about going down that road is that, as you are aware, the state law provides those parameters.
And that's where we're going to go.
And so, and I apologize if I cut you over the heat. So, and I'm emphatic about the Department of State Police enforcing the laws as it is currently written. What I'm not here to do is to opine, provide my personal opinion. I'd rather not go down that road.
Respectfully, sir, you've made it clear that you don't trust us. You've made it clear that if we were given this right, we would be in danger. And quite frankly, that's why the citizens of Maryland want the right, because we also do not trust the government. And we should not. As several have cited, our Article 6 of our Declaration of Rights, that all persons invested with legislative or executive powers of government are trustees of the public, and as such are accountable for their conduct. Wherefore, whenever the ends of government are perverted, and public liberties manifestly endangered, and all the means of redress are ineffectual, the people may in a right ought to reform the old and establish a new government. The doctrine of non-resistance against arbitrary and capricious powers is absurd, slavish, and destructive of the good and happiness of man. That's been cited here several times from our Constitution. That's where the people here sit here and say, when you take the position that criminal history, alcoholics, drug addicts, those who are habitually violent, it's in the law, should not have them, but then you opine that, well, understand everyone, if we give you this right, some people may actually exercise it. And I disagree with the interpretation you gave where you said some people, if we went down this and you had to prove that they did not have a good substantial reason, that some people would have it before you found out they didn't. That's not the case here. We're saying that we're going to let you make sure that these things that are in the law, the only ones, and I was going to ask you if you know of any other reason, other than those that are currently listed in the law, why we should not have the ability to exercise our Second Amendment. We disagree wholeheartedly. We're in different worlds. I believe the Constitution is plain on its face. Yes, it's coming, sir. I waited an hour, and I'm not the one who just...
We took your bill first. Go ahead.
I think we took several bills. I think there's 5 bills here right now, right? As I was asking, is there any other than those that are listed reason why the citizens of Maryland should not be given the right to carry a concealed firearm other than those reasons that are currently listed in the law that we've went over?
The law does give parameters up front relating to one's background. But in a shall issue state, it also...
I'm not asking about that. I'm asking currently in Maryland law, when you are looking and the people under you are looking at the Maryland law, what do they take into consideration other than those factors that are currently listed in the law? Is there something else that you say, Delegate Smigiel, we need to make sure that this is not a factor that those people possess?
Mr. Smigiel, if you will allow me,
Please.
the law does impact on career-related occupations and some of the qualifications that must be met in order to get a handgun permit. So, I mean, that's a consideration too, in a may issue. In other words, when it comes to...
With all respect, this has nothing to do with my question, sir.
but those are other parameters outside of what you said.
I'm asking, is there something that prohibits a person, under your interpretation of a good substantial reason, other than those factors that are listed, that would keep them from being able to have a permit? Any other factor that prohibits them? propensity for what, sir?
violence.
Now, isn't that when I said habitually violent? Wouldn't that be one of those? I read that.
Are we talking convictions, or are we talking numerous arrests for assaults and then shows
You
you pattern of
tell
behavior?
me, sir, I'm asking you to tell us while we're here today, we can all be on the same page, what it is that's currently in the law.
I would say that, yes, a propensity for violence of multiple assault arrests, even though that there's no convictions to go along with that, that shows a pattern of behavior that maybe they shouldn't be in possession of a firearm.
Okay, we're in total agreement. We're in total agreement. They should not have it. Okay, those things are listed. So if the individual has no propensity for violence, has no previous drug problems, alcohol problems, criminal histories, is there something else that you're currently looking at that says now you still shouldn't have a right to carry in Maryland?
One of the things I can't think of any.
Okay, so then there's no reason that this bill, which puts the burden on you to make sure that the person sitting in front of you asking for that permit to carry should not be granted one, because we've shifted that burden. This is all the bill does, what we just did here.
The current process has allowed something other than black and white. When there is history through the handgun review board, through appellate court, where there are areas that are not black and white specifically stated, have upheld a denial. My only concern is this, is that when you, for the gravity of concealing, carrying a concealed weapon permit, those instances where someone is determined to be prohibited outside of the clear black and white can be a concern when you have exposed, or when it's determined later that that person is prohibited. Whether it goes through some type of appeal, because the state police will have.
Either you have the right to carry or you don't, and you have established a process to go through. No person will ever be able to exercise their constitutional right if you continue to make the same mistakes that the state police have been making in depriving the persons of their constitutional rights by using an arbitrary and capricious manner to interpret it. So what we're trying to do is establish a very well laid out, which you've agreed is currently in the law, process for being able to do that. And now if there is a particular specific that you can tell us that raises a danger, please tell me so we can address it now, and we're not back here next year doing the same, chasing our tail. This bill will simply shift the burden to you as we just did in this exercise. He hasn't answered, sir. I want to know, Mr. Chairman, this is the life of millions of Marylanders. It's our constitutional right. There's nothing we came here for more important than the exercise of our Second Amendment rights.
You heard the question. Go ahead, sir. Do you have an answer?
I think I answered it earlier, Mr. Chairman.
That was good, Joe.
Not seen an answer.
All right, tell me the way.
Shame on the state of Maryland.
Go ahead. Go ahead.